Hi there again. So it's now time for literature. And what you need for literature is a Christmas surprise and your questions. So if you don't have these two things with you, remember the Christmas surprise is 3 pages. If you don't have it, pause the video. I'll be waiting. Go ahead. Okay, so by now, you would have already read A Christmas Surprise. I hope you read it at least twice. I always encourage reading a story more than once. That way, if you miss any important details, you read them in the second reading. So in this story, we see that it's Christmas, and one of the boys has been wanting something special for Christmas. And what is that? What is the boy expecting to get? He is expecting to get a cell phone. That's what he wants. That was his number one item on his wish list. And he was excited, and he opened up a box, and what did he see in the box? He found a phone, all right, but it wasn't an iPhone, it wasn't an Android phone. It was a what? It was a frog phone. It was a frog phone, yes. How do you think he felt? Well, you tell me how he felt. Do you think he was excited? No, at first he was like, no, this is not what I want. On the second page, it says, my shoulders slumped, but I forced a smile. He finally got a phone, right? So yeah, he was not thrilled about it. He only had 30 minutes of phone time per month. 30 minutes. Do you know how long 30 minutes is? It's nothing. It's half an hour for a month. So I don't think this is at all what he wanted, right? So, so eventually we know that at the end, they got a better gift. They got a what? They got a puppy. They got a puppy, and they were so happy with the puppy, and they named him what? First, they wanted to call him Brady. Now, if you notice, every time that Dylan speaks, there's a W in between whatever word he's saying. For example, if you go on to the last page, over towards the middle, when mom is asking, what are you guys going to call him? I know, Dylan shouted, we'll call him Bwady. What does that tell you about Dylan? What does that tell you about Dylan when he says, we'll call him Bwady? And there's another occasion where he does the same thing. I believe it's on the first page. Here's my first page. The very first line, actually, says, Alex, wake up. It's Christmas. Santa came. What does that tell you about Dylan? It tells us that Dylan is probably a little kid, much younger than Alex, probably much younger than you. Maybe he was 2 or 3, because that's what we call baby talk, right? Bwady, Christmas, all right? So we know that Dylan is the younger brother, and Alex is the older one. And they don't tell us these things. They don't say Alex is the older brother, or it doesn't say my kid brother Dylan, but we know that he is the youngest by the way he speaks. And we also know that Alex is older because we are assuming that he is old enough to have some kind of cell phone. Not the cell phone he wanted, but he was old enough to get some kind of cell phone. Okay, very good. So they finally come up with a name, and they name him Copper. Very good. Okay, so let's go over some of the vocabulary words. Okay. Tomorrow I will give you a very short quiz. So this week is not a whole big testing week. It's more like a quiz week. And I am going to do it on a video tomorrow. Okay, so you'll do it on video. It'll be short. It's a quiz. And it's just basically going over the words. So, number one, what does the word mumble mean? The word mumble means to speak in a low voice, to mutter. So when someone asks you a question and you're like, and they're like, huh, speak up, right? That is a mumble. Is it good to mumble? No, it's not good to mumble. It is very good to speak clearly. Good. Number two, transform. What does the word transform mean? It means to change shape. Okay, to change shape. Responsibly. What does the word responsibly mean? It means sensibly or correctly. So when you are acting responsibly, you are acting correctly. Okay, so when you do your schoolwork, you hand it in on time. When we're in class or even in Zoom, and you are following the rules and listening to the teacher, you are acting responsibly, acting correctly. 4, chuckle. That's a pretty easy one because chuckle means to laugh out loud. Ha ha, that's a chuckle, right? Someone tells you a funny joke, ha ha, that's a chuckle, all right? Very good. Slump. Slump means to drop over and fall or fall down, right? So when you're sitting at your desk at school and you're doing this, that means that's a slump, okay? I tell you all the time, it's best when you're doing your work to sit up. So when you're sitting at home even and you are working on your schoolwork, it is best, whether it's homeschooling or homework, it's best to sit up. Don't slump, because that signals to your brain that it's time to rest and it's harder to concentrate. So don't slump when you are doing your schoolwork. Sit up straight and tall. That signals to your brain that it's time to work. Okay? Very good. The next word I want to go over with you, we have just 2 more. This word is pounce. Pounce means to what? To jump on something, right? I saw that Alejandro has a nice kitty, and I'm sure then when the kitty is trying to play or trying to grab something, he pounces. He jumps on something. And the last word is suggest. What does the word suggest mean? The word suggest means to advise, to bring up an idea. Very good. So if I just gave you, I suggested, or I gave you a suggestion as to how you should sit when you're doing your schoolwork. That's an advice or an idea, right? Another thing that I could suggest is doing your work in order that we have it in school. So for example, I suggest you do your Bible work first, then math, then spelling, then literature, and then science or English. Why? Because that's the order that we do it in school. And if you notice, I try to send the lesson plans in the same order. Very good. So for today, what you're working on are these questions. That was all in the same email that you received. The reading, it's in the same email that you received the word search and the English writing piece that you were supposed to work on yesterday. They are 8 questions. And I'll go over the questions with you. I'm not going to give you answers. I'm just going to read the questions with you. Your job is to answer these questions on your own. And please, as always, and I cannot say this enough, I cannot stress this enough, you must write your name on every paper you hand in. So please, if you have the paper in front of you, pause this video and write your name on the top. The date doesn't matter. The name on it does. As I told you, I've been telling you all along, when you come back to school, I'm going to have a stack of papers this big. And that means that I need to know whose paper I have. And if your name is not on a paper, I cannot give you credit for it. And what happens? You get a 0. You don't want a 0. So please write your name on it. Okay, so let's go over the questions, and then you're going to work on these questions on your own today. Okay, number 1, what is the setting of the story? So remember, a setting is what? When and where the story takes place. So you're going to answer that question. You could pause the video after each question and answer, or you could play the video completely and then answer the questions. However you do it is fine with me. And don't forget, you are able to go back into the reading. Of course you can look. Okay, number 2, what is the genre of the book? Well, we don't have the entire book, but we have an excerpt or a piece of the book. Is it nonfiction, realistic fiction, or fantasy? Okay, nonfiction means that a story is real. It is a biography. It's based on events that actually happened. Or realistic fiction means that the story is not real. It is made up, but it could happen. Or is it fantasy? And fantasy are fiction stories that just cannot happen. They have magic in them or things of those types, and they just cannot happen. So what is the genre of the book? Number 3, there's something we talked about this week. What is the point of view? Is it written in the first person or the third person? Remember how we talked about how to tell the difference. The first person is talking about I. The person telling the story is in the story, and they refer to themselves as I, me, my. If this third person is usually someone that is not in the story, and they refer to the characters as she, he, they, or the character's first name. 4, who are the main characters? Well, you go back into the story and see who the main characters are. 5, what present was hiding behind the tree? Go back if you don't remember. What was hiding behind the tree? Number 6, how does Alex feel when he gets his frog phone? Why? So there's 2 parts to that question. You can't just write down he was mad, or just write the word mad or sad or anything like that. Write a full sentence for each of these questions, and then the second part of number 6 is why. So don't just write one word, answer the question why. Number 7, what does Alex decide to name the puppy? And number 8, how does Alex feel about the puppy at the end of the story? How do you know? Okay, so work on those questions. Write your name, write your name, write your name. Okay? All right, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.